My 5-year-old daughter and I were hiking on a particular mountain on a Saturday morning. She had insisted on coming here for a while, but I refused until I couldn't anymore. We were walking down this trail until she suddenly stopped, turned around, and stared at me. "Daddy, why did Mommy ask me to bring you here?" A shadowy figure then emerged from behind a tree my daughter was standing next to. I couldn't believe my eyes. My wife has been dead for over a year. I should know, because I killed her in this exact location. I bought a ranch in Texas from a guy that was rushing to sell and sold the land way below market value. I noticed a scarecrow was hidden on the property. When I approached it, I smelled something rotting that almost caused me to vomit. I removed the clothes off of the scarecrow to see a torso, arms and hands, and a head. I realized at that moment it wasn't a scarecrow at all, but the remains of a human flesh decaying in the backyard of my house. My family has been ignoring me for a while now, and it's caused me to become very distant from them. My older brother has changed so much, and I don't understand why. He just sits in his room, lying in bed, listening to his headphones. He doesn't even play his game anymore, which is so weird and out of his character. My youngest sister barely is even home and spends most of her time outside of the house with her friends, which doesn't make any sense because my parents, just a week ago, would be drowning her phone with calls and texts, asking about her whereabouts and what she was up to. My father, out of nowhere, started drinking and smoking and won't even look at me anymore, no matter what I say or do to him. It's almost like everyone in the house just looks right through me. My mother is the worst of them all. She just cries all the time and doesn't really answer to no one. I really don't understand what's going on in this house. I finally got fed up and followed my mother into her bedroom. She almost closed the door in my face, but luckily I was able to walk right through it before she closed it. She sits on her bed and was holding what I thought was my middle school picture. But when I leaned in closer behind her, it said at the bottom of my picture, "In loving memory of Jacob Green." I have a 2-year-old pit bull that will go anywhere around my house except my bedroom. No matter how many times I call his name or try to bait him with putting treats on my bed, he never enters and always stares at my ceiling. I always find it weird too that he doesn't even like to walk past my bedroom unless my door is completely closed and out of his sight. One night, it was raining so hard, I felt drops hit my face while I was sleeping. I woke up thinking my roof was leaking, only to make eye contact with a black, shadowy figure hanging from my ceiling with its mouth wide open, having the most longest, disturbing tongue sticking out of its mouth, drooling on me.
As long as I can remember, a shadow has been waving at me every night in the deepest corner of my room, as if it was wishing me good night. My mother has always told me she believes it is my grandmother watching over me, who died when I was 3 years old. When I turned 18, I moved out of my parents' house, and the shadow figure followed me into my new home. My girlfriend came over one night after we had went out for dinner and a movie, and stayed the night with me. I woke up from her screaming my name in the middle of the night. As I got up, I saw the shadow figure standing at the foot of my bed. My heart stopped, because this shadow looked nothing like the other shadow figure, and I was frozen in terror. I don't know if it just got jealous because I've always been to myself and finally had company over, or if, all this time, it's been something entirely different. Me and my best friend would pass this house all the time walking home from school and see this girl with long black hair standing in the top window of this house across the street and would always smile at me and my friend. We could never see all of her face because she had so much hair, but we always saw her smile. We always noticed there were never any cars in the driveway, and when the mailman would walk around the neighborhood passing out mail, he never went to that house, and the girl did not look familiar at all from anyone we knew from school. We walked home from school one day and noticed there were police cars and ambulances at the house. We saw a stretcher come out of the front door and got a glimpse of the face under the blanket. It was the same girl that would be in the top window. I turned to my friend to say something, but noticed he had stopped a few steps behind me. The look on his face was nothing short of terrified, as if he was staring at death itself. I turned to look at the house, to see that same girl in the top window, smiling at me. I repeatedly keep having this dream in which an old lady keeps warning me not to open my front door. One night, I got a random knock on my door at 3 a.m. I refused to open it and just stayed in bed, hoping and praying the knocking would stop, and it eventually did. Out of nowhere, there was a tap on my back as I turned around and saw the most ugly creature smiling at me, saying, "Why won't you answer the door?" I jumped up and ran out of that room. I was so scared and confused, I just started panicking, running towards my front door. I opened it to see the same lady from my dreams standing on the opposite side. Then she said to me, "I warned you. Now look what you've done. You've let me in." I have been terrified to close my eyes and fall asleep recently because I have been attacked heavily in my dreams. I believe it's called sleep paralysis, but mine is a bit different than others, because I started to notice exactly when the attacks would happen. I would always be in my bed and couldn't move, but I knew I was still dreaming, because there would always be something off or different about my bedroom in my dreams. Like, for example, I have a clock that sits on my nightstand, but in my dreams, it's either not there or it displays a very weird time on the clock. But the moment I would notice that, I would panic immediately and try to force myself to wake up, because I knew something was getting ready to attack me. One night, my night terror was so real, I started praying in my dream, and the demon grabbed me and started to mock my prayer. I was fighting for my life until I finally woke up. I was so relieved, I just laid there for a minute, asking myself, am I really dreaming these attacks? Or is there something else really going on? I turned to my nightstand and was happy to see my clock there, and I checked to see what time it was. The clock said 12:74.